Hello everyone, let's get started with our talk today, the A3 projects, continuous improvement program, how to set it up. So we'll be talking about the different elements that you need to set a program up. We're not necessarily talking about the training part of it, although we'll mention the steps of the A3 model. So this program is a proven continuous improvement program. You have probably experienced it yourself or know some companies that you already use it. It's called the A3, and the A3 comes from the size of the paper. The size of the paper is 11 inches by 17 inches, and that is about two pages folded, regular size paper. So we have as I mentioned, 7 steps, and often this program is used in Kaizen. The layout of the A3 model on the paper, or on the A3 paper, is there are 4 steps on the left and 3 steps on the right. You can see that the 4 steps on the left are background, current conditions, goal statement, and root cause analysis. This really, if you align it with the plan, do, check, act, 1 through 4 belong to the plan phase. So as you can see, this is a snapshot. This is a typical A3 form or template. As you can see, the background, current conditions, goal statement, root cause analysis, and then the countermeasure on this side, confirmation, and follow-up action. This is just a diagram showing you the plan, do, check, act in relation to the A3 model. So we start with the background, collecting basic information about the problem in general, what it is and what it's not, which area, which process it comes from. Then we start looking or digging deeper and collecting more information and conduct more data analysis about the current conditions. So this involves it might involve statistical analysis, capability analysis about the current process. So after we clarify that and we know where we are, then we are ready to establish our goal. We cannot really establish our goal before knowing what current conditions we have. So current conditions, very important to detail it, make sure that everybody understands it, and it is clear in terms of metrics where we are. At this point, we are ready to set up our goal statement. So the current conditions, for example, may show things about rework, and maybe you're analyzing rework hours in relation to total operating hours. So that gives you a fraction. So let's say that you're tracking it on a monthly basis. So you can do some statistical analysis on that, maybe control chart, maybe capability analysis, and then you have a goal then based on that. Maybe now it's time to reduce it by 30%. So that would be your goal right here. Once we set up our goal, then we are ready for the root cause analysis. And this involves, of course, some tools. It requires a team, requires a facilitator. This may go into a fishbone diagram, cause and effect matrix, the 5 whys, different tools that you may utilize here. The idea here is to guide you through the investigation to get to the root cause. You don't want to deal with symptoms. You don't want to deal with surface causes. You want to get down to the root cause of the problem. You may end up with more than one root cause or potential root causes. So at this point, once you identify them, you confirm them with the team. You might have to confirm the root causes through some type of experimentation, just to make sure that they are actually the significant process inputs that you're looking for. Once that is done, then you are ready to come up with countermeasures to cover those root causes that you identified. So at least you will have one countermeasure for each per root cause. So if you have two root causes, you have to have at least two countermeasures, one for each. You can have more countermeasures, of course, but it helps to make sure that the countermeasures are effective, and that will be done, that will be tested later. One of the things you might want to consider in the countermeasure is to apply mistake proofing techniques or Pokayoki. Those are techniques that you can apply to different, in manufacturing or service to ensure that mistakes are not possible to be made, using the countermeasure. Once the countermeasures are implemented, then we let the system mature, maybe get stable, and then we confirm our effects. The confirmation comes through, again, data analysis, like we did in the current condition. So basically, we collect data here to see that the problem has been taken care of, and we compare it to our goal statement. Once we compare our goal statement, then we see where we are. Have we achieved our goal? Yes. What do we do now? Have we not achieved our goal? And if the answer we haven't, then we have to have some kind of follow-up actions. Lessons learned, things like that will be all up here. Long-term audits will also be up here. So this may be a launching ground for another cycle of continuous improvement. Okay, so moving on here, you can see here the A3 model in comparison to the Plan, Do, Check, Act on the left and the Six Sigma DMAIC on the right. So you know that this is the Six Sigma on this side. So the Six Sigma: define, measure, improve, analyze, and control. And the Plan, Do, Check, Act, of course, is the core method for continuous improvement. And this is the method that we are talking about here. So the reason we choose this method is it has a better flow. It is well aligned with the Plan, Do, Check, Act. And it also can be used for small or large project. You can even use it for your corrective action system, as for more moderate use. You can also use it for continuous improvement, large continuous improvement projects. So moving on here. Some background information about why we're using this and what is the motivation for coming up with a continuous improvement program. Joran, a quality expert, has already mentioned in his long career that 20 to 40% of sales are related to or quality related costs. The majority of which is the non-conformance. So 2/3 of these would be non-conformance. So if you're averaging 30% here, then 2/3 of it, or 20% of all of your sales are in non-conformance somehow. So wouldn't it be great to save some money of that 20% of all total sales, all total revenues. So that's what we're talking about here. This is a motivation for this. So costs related here are all the waste cost, all the non-conformance, errors, redoing things, rework, scrap, downtime, returns, customer dissatisfaction, all of that will belong up here. So about 1/3 of what we do really consists of work previously done. So we do it again for some reason or another. In project-based companies, and here I'm referring to companies that utilize projects as a way of doing business, like IT companies when they design softwares, engineering companies, companies of that nature. If you use the projects, and 30% of projects come in on time only, so less than 30% even. So just imagine that 70%, you have potential for improvement. And on the time spent on the site, of about 57% of the time that crews spend on a job site is basically waste. So wouldn't it be nice to have that time that is being spent on a job site being used up in a value turning way? One other fact is, and this is also a motivation for this program, many companies start doing this and they jump directly into the training. So the training is fine, but the training has to be a part of the big picture. The big picture is a program that you have to set up, and training is a part of it, but it's not everything. And from research, if you don't really use the training that you conduct, it's lost. 80 to 90% of it is not, is not retained. So we would like to transfer that training into actual practice by really setting up a program and do actually applying it and doing projects. So typical programs from a continuous typical benefits, from a continuous improvement programs. We know the better quality, of course, the reduced rework, scrap, etc. Increased yields, capacity, reduced lead times, reduced costs, less time, less waste, less inventory, satisfied customers and employees, increased market share. All this results in improved profitability in for-profit organizations, and improved, of course, customer experience for all organizations. So here's just a slide on different measured benefits as far as direct cost reduction, indirect cost reductions, revenue increases, and cash flow benefits. So you can see there is a lot that can be realized. So some of these things, or at least few of these things, would be applicable to any project that you might have. Some general examples, from projects in manufacturing, for example, reducing rework reinspection from 82 to 94%, which translated into annualized savings. So increase the first pass yield by reducing the rework. So that saves the company about $145,000 per year for that particular project. Credit card company, this is what they saved based on, saving on making sure that the correct information are there, so they didn't have to do write-offs. So that saved them about $375,000 a year. Healthcare in a lab, cutting overtime, saved the company or the hospital about $93,000 for that particular lab, that particular project. From our experience, we had some of the projects. You can see here excessive freight cost, new shipping routes, and load optimization. You can see the annualized reduction. Manufacturing, plastic, excessive lead time. You can see here a lead time was reduced by 80%. There is no actual translation to dollar value here, but you can see that it is a significant reduction. In food manufacturing, excessive waste, food cannot be packed, basically thrown away. Applied simpler RCA tools, root cause analysis tools, resulted in $180,000 in savings. And again, this is revenue generating or recovered opportunity that was not there. So we did an online marketing experiment using design of experiments, and that was the opportunity that was recovered. So now getting to the program part. So we talked about the A3 model itself, the training, and all the benefits that would come from doing projects like this, and what companies that are not doing it missing out on. Now take a look at what you need to have to set up a continuous improvement program. So the first thing you need is a sponsorship and senior management commitment. This has to be there. This is the umbrella that will have to come first. Then the other pieces will have to come into play. The training, the leadership, meaning that you have to qualify people that can lead projects, project mentoring. You can have in-house or external mentors to guide you through the different projects, and the program administration. And we'll talk about this, each one of them in details here. So the first thing is a commitment and sponsorship from top management. So we talk about the needs and the benefits that will come from that. And then we have to have, for each project, there is a sponsor. So from the top management, the top management could be acting as sponsors for the different projects. So this typically is from senior management. They help select project leader and team, help kick off the project, provide support, ensure implementation. As needed, they can also participate in meetings and help out, and also attend final presentation. So this has to be there, and it has to be clear and communicate to everyone that this is the company is serious about this and committed to it. Once we have that, then we can, the other thing, or the other part, not necessarily in the order, is the training part. So we have hands-on training, basic for all team members to be trained on. And you can have certification for team leaders. So the team leaders, to become a team leader, maybe you'll have a little bit more training. And possibly the training would involve things like facilitation, maybe, QC tools, cost of quality, little bit of data analysis like SPC, etc. And it could also involve a test to qualify them and one completed project. So you can set it up the way you want based on your company's needs. But as far as regular training on the A3, everyone has to have training. Everyone that is likely to become a team member to understand the whole process. The next thing is project leadership. We talked about the leaders there, what they need. So we have to have some kind of experience to be a project leader, training or certification. We talked about that in the previous slide. These are the responsibilities of the team leaders. They lead, they may facilitate. In smaller companies, the leader is the facilitator and is the record keeper. They perform data analysis sometimes. They document project details. We use an Excel system to document all the project details, and an online system to collaborate with other team members. And they document also the project details and report on progress. It is also important to determine the capacity for each project leader, like how many projects per year can they work on. So you assume they are going to spend maybe 4 hours a week or so on their projects, and then determine, how many projects they can have, or whatever number of hours they can spend, regularly. Mentoring is important, and this is often forgotten because sometimes project leaders could get tied up and not pay attention to their project. So they need some kind of mentoring to get back on track and report on their projects, on project documentations in the workbook. Again, this also has a capacity. So if it's an internal mentor, you'll have to have determined how many projects per year each mentor is capable of handling. With regard to the program administration, there are different elements of that. The first thing is the program structure itself, and then qualifying the personnel, qualifying the projects themselves, project assignment, reporting on projects to management, and improving the program. So as far as the structure itself, we're talking about the documentation, maybe the procedure, the format of that template. Is it online or is it maybe using an Excel workbook? The flow of the program or the flow of the process, and establishing the continuous improvement committee with their responsibilities, and you will have to have the sponsors as part of this. One other note here is the online project management that may be helpful. So there are online project collaboration tools that can be utilized for team members to correspond back and forth for the different phases of on the different phases of the project. So one of these is Basecamp or Zoho projects that can be used. The next thing is the qualifying personnel. So we talked about the training, the certification, and the participation level. So who's qualified to be a team member? Maybe the basic training, people who receive the basic training. Who's qualified to be a team leader? They have a little bit more advanced training. And who's qualified to be a mentor? And that may be having done many projects as a leader. And the next thing is qualifying projects. So this is a part of also the administration, program administration. So how do you qualify projects? The first thing that should be emphasized is the alignment with the corporate or the quality objectives. So each project, the objective of each project must be aligned with corporate objectives. Another thing that might be important is maybe a minimum value for savings. Some companies may determine that $50,000 or $100,000 is the minimum amount to be saved for each project. Timing is another important aspect of qualifying projects. Some projects may take a very long time, 3 years or so. That's something that companies accept. Typically, this is 3 to 6 months. So I'd say that projects that would take more than that may not be a part of this type of program. Some projects may go up to 9 months, but typically 3 to 6 months is a good timing. And do we have the resources, the leader, the mentor, the team members, and their time commitment to carry out the project? And then once we have all of that, then it is time for project assignment. We assign the project leader based on experience with the area the project is originating from, and also the team. So this is where the sponsor comes into play and plays a part in that assignment. We may assign a mentor or coach for the project. Again, this could be internal or external, depending on the size of the company and the resources they have, and the start and expected completion date. And the last part of the program administration is the reporting on projects to management. So this is an ongoing, maybe a dashboard kind of item. So you have projects waiting to be assigned, and then projects being worked on right now, and then completed projects. You can see different metrics that you might have for each group. With all of these elements, we also have to include something to improve the program. So the program itself needs improvement, and this is something you can achieve by getting feedback from project leaders and members after project completion. And those feedback items can go to for management review. So altogether, we can provide, much better way of handling projects from ideas into a reality. So in terms of the steps, or in terms of the order of the elements for this program, the first thing is actually the program administration. Once that is set up, then we can provide the training, and then we start carrying out the project leadership and mentoring. But we do have to have the program administration in place before we start providing the training. So that's why it's important to put these things in perspective. So when you first want to get into the training, it is important to have a program in place so you can get people started on their projects right away, right after the training. So that's basically the way you can set up a continuous improvement program using the A3 model. Again, the A3 model was found to be a very easy, visual, and has a much better flow than other models. Well connected with the Plan, Do, Check, Act. Can be customized to the size of your company. Can be used for small projects or large projects. Can be used as your corrective action process. So all of this makes this model ideal to be used in a continuous improvement as a continuous improvement program. One other point here is that this continuous improvement program, if you are, let's say, an ISO certified company, this could be your continuous improvement part of the of your quality management system. So it doesn't have to be anything new. It doesn't have to be a parallel system. It will be a part of your system once you implement it. So you just kind of bring it in and make it your continuous improvement program, which works really well with that. So we'll take some questions after we turn off the recording here, and thank you again for participating in this.